Oh, Linda's going to sing this one.
I'm going to sing a little song that my granny used to sing to me. It's an old gypsy song from Bulgaria. And it's about a lady who reminisces of her youth whilst smoking a pipe.
The pipe song, which is called Sinka Staro. It's in Bulgarian because many songs would be still in Eastern European languages, and this song is a mixed version of a very old gypsy song, but been taken and mixed up, and my granny sang it completely differently. My mother used to sing this song to me as well. The mother's Roma from Bulgaria, Roma Gypsy, and she's been over here since the 70s. I still have a cousin out in Bulgaria. The rest of the family have passed away, and a lot of them moved in the war in the 1940s. Loads of Roma were killed, and members of my family. That's why my mother doesn't know a lot of her family. Her grandmother was fleeing, and they became very disjointed, and we don't really know many more family members. So.
When I'm playing Romanian music, it gives me so much freedom. I don't need to think what I'm playing. It's just coming automatically. I don't need to even think what I'm playing. It's not like a classical. Classical it's like so much restriction around you, and you have to go through this restriction, do it nicely. Of course, classical is beautiful, but it doesn't give you freedom. Yes. It's like when you're going out from the prison and you take the breath, oh, I'm free now. Just slightly. Usually, it's my brother who is cooking and I'm the one who is eating. So today is the opposite because he's still sleeping. Working night shift. I was born in Czechoslovakia at that time, in a town called Piešťany, today is Slovakia, in a working class family. Both of my parents, they're Romani. My mom, she was working as a sales assistant, and my father, he was working as a welder in the nuclear power station. My father, he was also amateur musician. He played accordion and violin. He had his band, he played in restaurants, in weddings, funeral ceremonies, birthday parties. He had really passion for especially for the violin. Yes, me too actually, because I'm playing concert.
My father is an Irish traveller and travelled and worked all over the world, from Saudi to Egypt. He was building hospitals out there, and he just had the urge to carry on the tradition of work and travel. Ended up in Bulgaria and met my mum, and they came over to London because it was a more accepting place, I think, for my father. I spent most of my childhood going back and forth from Bulgaria. So I used to have traveller status at school, and I used to go to school for a few months, come back and travel Germany and Saudi, Egypt with my father and mother.
My first touch with the violin, I can't remember, because I was so small. And my parents, they told me when I was child, so instead of teddy bear, I took the violin and I was sleeping with the violin in the bed. When I was 8, 9 years, my parents, they decided they registered me for the basic art school. And that's actually when my music career started.
In Egypt, when I was probably started from 7, I remember just seeing the belly dance side of the dance, and it felt very similar to what we did in Bulgaria, and I got very involved. I've always been dancing, which my mother encouraged.
That was the September 1993. I joined the Romany theater in Košice, in East Slovakia. And I think that was the breaking point when I really started to play professionally. Until that time, I was only study, and I still didn't know what does mean to be professional musician. Spent there about 11 years, and it's come to the point where the music didn't give me anything more. I finished there, I resigned, and I became a teacher in a primary school, teacher of music. And within a few months, I realized that's not for me. Then I came to Doncaster. I moved to Great Britain, and I was working in the warehouse. And I didn't want to do any music. I just played in the church on Sunday on Holy Mass, and that was it. But after a few years, that passion catch me again. I decided I have to move to London, because in the London there is more opportunity for the musician. I started studying.
Can you tell me something about the
Oh
APP?
yes, the APP is the one of the APP is Advanced Performance Project, and what is actually with APP? That's the part of my study. That's the module, my study. So what basically means is that I have to
Turn around when possible, then at the
organize
end of the
my
road,
own
turn
event.
left.
Yes, my own concept. So, and I can play any music what I want. Of course, there is no restriction. Classical, any music,
Turn left,
any
A40
instrument, any lineup,
Uxbridge Road.
band. So, which is nice. So I decided to play Romany music, not only Romany music, but the classical music as well, influenced by Romany culture. So, and some, as well, some traditional Eastern tunes. I'm not sure, but I think I am the first Eastern European Romani who study in this university. I think I am the first one.
Really?
Yes, because when my professor heard that I'm Romani, he was quite excited. He was like, oh, okay, very good. Like, he was excited to teach me.
That can also be done the other way around if you want. Having Marion as a violin student is a real treat for me, because I really feel that we work together. Now that you've got that, I admire his commitment. I realise that he doesn't have as much time to practice as other students do, because he's got a job, he has to finance his course here and everything else, which means he has to sort of work with tremendous concentration, and he's able to do that. Now really go from the bottom, grip the D string. I love the fact that he has that background and experience, and that whole gypsy influence is present throughout his music. He's got it in his blood, so we use it. It's great. Okay.
Which music do you play generally?
I do Romani music, I do klezmer as well, of course I do classical, yes. So I do bits of everything.
Well, he's here to develop as a classical musician.
Yes. I think the classical is the classical is the basic.
And then he has his Romany music and his band, which he plays with, to do the enjoyable folky stuff and hopefully earn some money doing it as well. And
Yes.
Okay, they're from Afghanistan, India now doing versions, and they're covered in like turquoise and lapis and all sorts. There may be, what has definitely happened is it hasn't. The Roma silversmithing tradition has been a tradition for years. It was a way of people who were handy craftsmen to be able to survive and make money. Yeah, but there's still... My uncle was a tinsmith and a metalsmith in Bulgaria, and he was also a tool sharpener, and he made all his own machinery, and he would sharpen knives and forks, and the village would queue up to get their knives and forks sharpened. When I was a child, I used to go to see him, and I used to find his work and his machinery fascinating. So I've kept that tradition of working with silvers and metals. Don't worry about cooling it down in the water because we've got a contraption made. Leave it. I teach silversmithing, jewellery and textiles, and I also teach belly dance. I teach for a few different colleges. I also work for a circus travelling company. In here and clean. I can't stay in one place. It's the traveller in me. I used to live in a van. Now you can't do that anymore because there are restrictions. 20 years ago, you could almost just squat in a van. You'd be very lucky. They've banned squatters' rights, they've banned travellers' rights. I tried working in a school, even in one setting, and I can't be there for longer than a day. I love to be outdoors, so most of my work I try to have an open space and be in a creative environment, which is very hard to find, and also a practical environment, which is also very hard to find these days.
What is typical for Roma culture? The music is the first thing, of course. Music, dance, singing. The Romani culture is, I would say, more expressive than the European. As a general, yes. It's more lively, it's more... When he's happy, he's really happy. And when he's sad, he's really sad. Even talking about the music.
The British part of me, I suppose, is the modern part. I'm lucky that I have the freedom to make my own choices as a woman, which is not very possible for other women, especially Roma women. The Roma side, I suppose, is the dance, the performance side. It's what I grew up with. The art and the creative side as well is from the gypsy side, you know, from where they make their own jewellery, they make their own clothes. They're very resourceful. So I think that's something that I've taken from them, especially the practical skills. But I'm also very into my gypsy roots because my mother was always told, you're not gypsy. In Bulgaria, she would hide the fact that she was from gypsy origin because you couldn't find work, you couldn't find you know, people would treat you really badly. When I was at school, I used to be called gypsy and tinker, and because I was traveling and then back in school. So when I was a child, I grew up with that, and I always wanted to just be this normal child, you know, with friends and not, you know, a different. Whenever people talk to me, straight away I say I'm gypsy. So I identify myself as a London gypsy.
I have to, because I had just call from Alex, you know, the accordion player, and his car is broken. He's on A4 somewhere stuck. He's waiting for recovery. My APP is ruined. Everything is going wrong.
Mic testing 1 2 3 hello hello hello. Mic testing 1 2 3 hello 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 hello.
She had okay.
The most important is people are happy, you know, the audience, to make the audience, because the music, this is not the classical. Everything has to be nice and square. This is free music, free souls. You know, it should be that. Atmosphere should be free as well. So, and I think I created that kind of atmosphere. So hopefully it should be okay. I think that I had some guys, they spoken to me and they were quite happy. So, most important.
Дорогой